problems like interconflict, etc. Women are lobotomized.
Why do you think interconflict leaves? Because women are involved. That's insane. That's silly. Women can vote. So women right now are 50% of the voting bloc in Western nations. They can vote to send men off to go fight because they're not eligible for the draft. Why do you think that conflict is suddenly reduced because women are involved? That's not the case.
You don't think interpersonal relationships with the opposite sex that you're attracted to doesn't reduce things such as like interpersonal conflicts with
no,
the same
it creates
sex?
Interpersonal conflict. What do you mean? Like, are you saying that? Yeah, yes. Interactions with the opposite sex tend to create interpersonal conflict. Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
I think that, women are assisting men with things such as like reducing violence, etc., right? With interpersonal relationships.
Yeah, against who though? Women, right? Right? So when you talk about violence reduction, isn't it really that the most amount of reduction that women want in violence from men is against women, right? But if we took that off the table, because now women are just lobotomized sex objects, why would we care about violence? Men love.
Yeah, just because men love violence doesn't mean it's beneficial to society and society's going to progress.
It doesn't mean it's bad for society either. Boxing's great for society. UFC is great for society. Sports fighting's great for society. Organized sports great for society. By the way, dueling. I would argue dueling is good for society.
Dueling is good for society.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, what's wrong? What's wrong with the fact that if you have your honor and you were to call a person out to a duel and one person died as a result of the duel, don't you think less people would be involved in slighting other people's honor? Don't you think that would make for a better society?
No.
Well, then I got to ask you, why was there such a gentleman's code just a couple hundred years ago where it was the case that male-on-male violence was so low inside of Western nations, especially among gentlemen, where they would call each other out to duels? It's because you got slighted, you might run the risk of, dying, right?
I don't know much about the history of duels.
Or anything else.
Anything else. I do know that a progressive good society, at least in my eyes, is not one where you can just, you're working in the office and your coworker, and then you just challenge him to a duel and unalive him. I don't see how that could be.
That's actually why. Why don't you see that that's good? The idea here is if you wanted to have a reduction in people doing honorific slights to you, if there was repercussions which could potentially cost them their lives or not, they could always turn the duel down. It just really hurts their honor, right? It just hurts their honor.
I think that could end up being a little bit of a slippery slope, don't you think, in terms of subjective ideas of what's an honor slight? What's stopping you from just pulling out a pew-pew and shooting a guy that says that your pants don't look good today?
Yeah, so when you talk about murder itself, the idea of murder itself is subjective, right? The idea is whether it's defensive or non-defensive or justified, even that is subjective. So you're just saying, well, honor would be subjective. It's like, so everything in your postmodernist progressive fan fiction of society is all subjective. Who cares? Why is that a problem?
Yeah, subjectivity when it comes to honor duels is important because it's a slippery slope to things just like unaliving people just because you felt like your honor was, disrespected. Are you saying there's going to be some sort of like legality behind it?
Of course, there always was. There's certain ways in which duels. Sure, there's certain ways in which duels were to be conducted so that they were fair. They had to be witnessed. This type of thing, but slights to people's honor, well, that went down. Oh, hey, you're tired of fat shaming? You're tired of all this type of stuff? Guess what? I bet if people could call somebody else out for a duel, those things would greatly decrease. Greatly decrease. But not only that, leaving that alone for just a second, I just want to know this. Right? You would lose. But I just want to know this. You still have not. It's a joke. It was a joke, lady. I'm joking with you. You still have not actually. Just so you know, all that you said is this: I believe that there'd be such a regression in society that society would never socially recover from this. But you didn't actually make the case for why we. Because if it's the case that society would then begin to progress just in a different way, it sounds like you're just making a case that the society that you want just looks different, not that it even looks better.
No, I don't think that it would be a better society if women were lobotomized. And I think that
not for women, society for them, right?
I'm not even looking at it like that. I'm just like looking at it from an outsider perspective. If I was just like a spirit looking in on this society, not even from the perspective as a woman, but I couldn't see how society would be better with just men.
Well, the argument actually is not whether or not society would be better. The argument is whether or not women are necessary for the progression of society. And the answer over and over again from you has basically been no. That if it were the case we lobotomized all women, that men would still be able to pursue all of these scientific things. We'd be able to reproduce this way, pursue all the same scientific pursuits, still pursue philosophy, still pursue technology, and you haven't demonstrated we would have a bar from any of those things. None. What would be the bar?
I've already demonstrated my thoughts. I've already explained to you how I feel
what would be the bar? Just tell me in simple language, what would be the bar for men continuing to do all of those things, even with women lobotomized? What would be the why is it that they could not do that anymore?
Society would regress to the point where we wouldn't even be thinking about those things, right? Society would regress to a point where we're not capable of focusing on things, right? The healthcare industry would be basically, I won't say destroyed, but regress to the point of like dire straits.
More than it was in countries for like post-World Wars. Hospitals, the whole things were destroyed. I mean, come on.
About society today, right?
Uh-huh.
So society today, the way that today's society is structured, what society is used to, I don't know what would happen if we entered a world war today. I'm saying what we have right now, if women were to be lobotomized, detrimental to the healthcare and education industry.
That's true. I can concede it would be detrimental.
And I think it would be to the point where society would regress.
That's what I need demonstrated. I need to the point that men could no longer pursue and fix all these problems, nor do academic pursuits towards progress. I can concede a minor point that you would have instant regression from your standard. I can't concede the point that that would be necessary. It seems like you haven't actually told me why, even after this big regression happens, men can't go, oh, okay, well, we'll go ahead and fix those problems, and we'll just continue to progress in science and philosophy and all these other different things like they do and have done for 2,000 years.
I don't know. I just think I think it's opinion based. In my opinion, I don't think that it's possible to eliminate the entire second half of basically eliminate the entire second half of the population, and then just have like this cute little recovery period.
I guess if it's opinion based, but you have seen how it's possible. You yourself have conceded multiple times that it's not only would this happen, it's the most likely thing that happens.
Women are lobotomized.
Yeah, why? Well, yeah, I can show you societies where they're second-class citizens. Right this second, have no rights, no nothing. They might as well be lobotomized. Are you saying all scientific progress in those societies are gone? Because they're not.
Well, no, they're not basically lobotomized. They're still contributing to society, right? What?
Yeah, you can contribute to society if you're lobotomized. You can lift boxes and shit, I guess. You can lift boxes from point A to point B, right? What do you think these women in these countries are doing? Are they out working hard, laborious jobs? No, of course not. Of course not. So the thing is like, you wouldn't even need to necessarily lobotomize them. You just chain them up if you wanted to, right? Just chain them up. That's it, right? They're just there for reproduction only, like they do in half the world. And you're saying, how is it in all these other countries where they just chain women up? They're like, hey, you got no rights, no nothing. None of these scientific pursuits have been abandoned. None of the ideas of weaponry have been abandoned. None of the ideas of defense, philosophy, science, none of these things have been abandoned. You're just totally talking out of your ass.
Well, I don't think that it's entirely fair to say that these countries have like single-handedly done these progressions. I think that a lot of those countries that have women as second-class citizens rely heavily off of like first world countries like the U.S., etc., for their technology. But
well, okay, all you're doing there, You're not even making an argument. You're not even saying no. They've abandoned all those pursuits. You're just saying no. They're just saying they have not only not abandoned those pursuits, but they've not abandoned them so much that they're stealing technology from other nations because that's how much they care about those pursuits.
They're doing it themselves, right?
So they're still pursuing those things. So they're still pursuing those things then.
The society itself is not capable of producing it themselves.
What? What society is not capable of producing any sort of technology by itself that's male-dominated with women who are second-class citizens? China? China? Is China not capable of technology?
Are women second-class citizens in China?
I think you better look.
I'm thinking more like Iran or Afghanistan.
Wait, I'm sorry. You think that Iran has no such thing as scientific pursuits because women are second class? They were building a nuke and got bombed for it. Literally what they were doing was pursuing science, lady. That's what they got bombed for. What are you talking about?
I believe that they were actually building a nuke.
But I mean, they were definitely building nuclear centrifuges for the purposes of nuclear energy. That's called a scientific pursuit. They had all their top the first thing we did was assassinate their what? Top scientist. Their top scientist, right? That's the first thing we did. Huh?
Where was their top scientist?
In Iran. That's who Israel assassinated. Very first thing they did was assassinate their top scientists working on Iranian centrifuges for the purposes of nuclear energy, is what Iran says. Clearly, they're working on innovative technology. They had enriched uranium up to, I think it was 35 or 40%. Right? Which is way higher than what they needed. That's why they thought that there was a nuke going on there. Clearly, all these second-class women who are there did not bar the men from pursuing science, did they?
That's interesting. Where did they get this technology from?
Where did anybody get it from?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering where Iran... Do you think that
Where did Russia get it from? Where did China get it from? Where did India get it from? Where did Pakistan get it from? Where did Israel get it from? You're making an argument. You're making an argument for the source being one source. Does that just mean then that it's due to the fact that we have free women that were able to make a nuke, as though the nuke wasn't being made in the 40s when women were still they couldn't even have a credit card. You know what I mean? What do you mean?
They were still contributing to society even when they didn't necessarily have the same rights they have today.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. They were contributing to society. Has nothing to do with the fact that absent women, that if it were the case that women were all second-class citizens, they were all chained in like little cages for reproduction and that's it, that all of these academic pursuits would fail or that society would collapse in any way. You've not demonstrated that one iota. You just said, well, it's my opinion that it would regress so much that somehow all of society would collapse and men would just be completely incapable without women's benevolent guidance of empathy and showing them how to pursue the very same academic pursuits that they're already pursuing. It's a big-brained argument from you, I must admit.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did well. I appreciate the convo, though. You were very, very kind. It was a very spirited debate back and forth, and I wish you a good day.
Thank you, Andrew. Have a good day.
You too.
Drew, have a good day.
You too. Time for the cope. Time for the cope, baby. Time for the cope.
Anyways.
Yeah. Worldview destroyed.
What's next? Roxy wants to be let up. Are you in the request?
Where's my
I
cope?
don't see you.
Where's my cope? I want my cope. I want my cope.
All the compliments. I appreciate it. Hello, Roxy.
I can't stand that stupid fuck. Seriously, I can't. The laughing, like just the idea of lobotomy, like the society could not move forward without women reproducing.
They'd still reproduce.
Oh, he was proposing that we reproduce with the lobotomized women.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'd rather lobotomize men because they're the ones that have ruined society and the country. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is men who are the aggressors, men on men violence. Like, I don't know where he gets the audacity.